Right, let's pivot then. Kasan, what is your take? Come on then.
Ah, yeah, sorry. I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to say dev1ce should retire.
Ooh, the problem there though is should. So it's your actual prescription. You think it's just time to just quit, just hang it up?
I think that he should retire. Like, the thing is, like, I have publicly defended him, like, throughout this thing with not showing up for the RMR or whatever like that was, right, because C said something stupid, which I don't think he meant. He just wrote it stupidly and he didn't phrase it properly. But the thing is, like, and I can understand what stress does to a person, to the point where it physically and mentally hurts you, like to the point where you cannot move, where you cannot, like, do things that you normally do things that you love, put you in a very shit state. And I understand that. I really do. But, however, like, you know that your condition is there. You know that, like, it happened before. Why did you push yourself this season so hard? You took the IGL role, saying that this is a role that I see myself for many years to come, and that shit like that. Like, why would you even do that when you know that you have a condition like that? There are solutions to this thing. Like, you know that the major is the most important thing of the season, the second part of the season, and obviously the first part, the first major, right? But the thing is, and you didn't allow yourself to take a break. Take a fucking break in the middle of the season if you cannot handle it. Say, I need 3 weeks to go. Don't even ask me anything. You don't need to pay me for that month. I don't really fucking care. Just let me refuel so I can be ready for the RMR. We qualified through this whatever ranking because we played a couple of events good. I need a 3 weeks break. I need to get my fucking gut or whatever, my head in order, whatever the fuck is happening, and I'll be ready. And then you man up, you suck it up, and you go. Like, because your condition is probably mild by that point because you took a break from that thing. No, you take a break on the RMR and say, I'll be back. I mean, look at that from the business fucking side of the things. We speak about Astralis being a shit org for many things, including this bro thing and the medical, whatever the fucking abuses. But these people, whoever money they used, I don't know, they spent $2 million on getting stabbed, getting yabby, and that's just 2 million in the start. On top of that, you have what was your prediction there, Maui, when you had the salary tier list? 120 for, let's say, 120 a month for Astralis.
Something like that.
It makes sense.
Let's say 120.
Yeah.
Because dev1ce wouldn't accept anything below 35, 40.
That sounds
Stab
right.
and Yabi,
Yeah.
It's just around 120. Times 12, that's 1.4 something. Let's say 1.5 million. Plus that 1 million, plus the 2 million, that's what? 3.5. Plus the operational expenses that you have. Boot camps, all kind of shit, fucking travel, and all the things that they have in the contract. It adds up to what? $4 million?
Sure.
Something. I don't know whose money they use, but whatever. Like, they spend the money. They did spend the money. And then the income, the revenue that you expect from the major, which most orgs are, existing, they're expecting that revenue from the stickers to kind of help them survive the year, right? And I'm sure Astralis was expecting that money coming in, and that's why they invested so much money into this lineup, into these things. And just not to show up is just crazy to me. On top of that, like, $4 million for 1 year is also too much. I mean, we can go into Falcons and you can go into different fucking teams that did the same thing. But dev1ce at this point, if you cannot offer what you are being paid for a long time on the most important thing, then maybe you should just call it quits. Take a position in something else. Astralis bought him up from NIP after that disaster, whatever. You choose. I mean, he fucked up his own career in a way. It's crazy to say that his career is fucked up. Besides, he won the 5 fucking majors, so many trophies, MVPs, whatever the fuck, most successful lineup ever, and still the career is fucked up because of his personal decisions.
True.
Going to Sweden. We all know what happened there. We're not going to go into that personal stuff. But then it was a disaster. Then he didn't play for a very long time. Then he came back. They bought him back. They brought him into Astralis again. They rebuild around him. They buy these players for him. And then when the most important moment came in, he just says, I can't do it. My condition is not very well. And then fuck you all the rest. And then I cannot do it. And see you later. And these people, and then on top of everything, they bring in this kid, bro, who they fucked over a month before. So they couldn't just play with them with him that event and just say, fuck it, that event. We just gonna be normal human beings towards this young kid, and we're just gonna let him play, and then we'll regroup later and do whatever the fuck we need to do? No. They decided to bring him back, and the poor kid played. And this is how fucked up this thing is. If I was him, I wouldn't fucking play. I would say, fuck you, I ain't playing for you. And I would go publicly and say, they asked me to play after they fucked me. I don't want to go and play in that environment.
That problem, even though I know you're just ranting, I will just say technically it is actually a clause within the Astralis contracts that you can't disparage the orgs. They'll probably take you straight to court, but they probably wouldn't decide. You're all right. Yeah, I know you're right. You can still do the tweet anyway. Come on, you can do the tweet. I agree.
Take me to court, but you will pay too.
Okay.
You know, that's the thing. If you want to take it to court after you are being such a fucking dickhead, see how that pays out with the PR of your fucking sponsors. I go to sponsors directly if I was his agent. Okay. To Astralis' sponsors. Say, listen, this is what your money is fucking buying.
Yeah, scorched earth.
This kind of shit. And they want to take us to court because my player doesn't want to be associated with that shit anymore. This is what you should do. But no, the poor kid, because he wants to play, he came in and played and they fucking dropped out. But anyway, bottom line, dev1ce, if you're not ready to do these things, if you cannot organize your year, I don't know what was happening internally in the Astralis organization. Did they know? Did they not know? Was it like a ongoing issue? Was it like issue that was rising up, or it was like warming up or cooking up, whatever the fuck you want to call it? Or it was just straight out of the blue, dev1ce waking up one morning saying, "Oh my god, my stomach hurts, my head is not right, I'm not gonna play." Whatever the fuck is, it's Astralis' fault, it's dev1ce's fault. If you cannot make it, if you don't think you can compete in the highest level like you used to be before, don't ask for that big of a paycheck. Don't play, retire, go stream, go do something that's good for your health, go something that's good for your mental health, and stop wasting other people's time and money. And that's it.
Thoughts, Maui?
With all due respect to dev1ce's physical/mental health, I do feel like he just needs to be more organized with his time. I actually think that this is fairly reasonable. I think that just leaving your organization at a time that is this critical in their calendar it's excusable because of really this exact reason, but it's something that should be planned for. Like if this is, it's not like this is an unforeseen issue when he has a history of this. So that's where I feel like the alternative is pretty much sort of what you outlined, where it's like you need to be taking it easy in certain aspects. But the problem is that if you can't maintain your level while taking it easy, then yes, then I do agree. Right. You should just retire. So like there needs to be, you need to know, oh, does that mean you can only play 30 hours a week? Well, can you actually still be a top 30 player in the world with 30 hours a week? If so, and that manages your health, I don't think he needs to retire. But if he can't actually maintain the level that we expect out of him and that he has merited through his contract, then what's going on here? Like then I mean there needs to be some sort of addendum to what's going on with his involvement with the Astralis team, whether that is a salary cut, an imposed break in the season, or some sort of change of expectation, essentially.
But the thing is, Maui, sorry to interrupt you, but I want to ask you, would you make a bet on that? Like if dev1ce tells you, I can be a player with like top tier player with the 30 hours, if you're Astralis, the guy with the money, are you betting on that? Because I'm not.
Well,
I'm not.
I mean, at this point, with
4 fucking majors, they missed 4 majors.
Yeah. With how things
Astralis, with the organization, with the financial backing as them, to miss 4 fucking majors in a row, and the 4th one like this after they spent fucking $4 million.
Yeah, missed 5 of the last 6. Yeah, 5 out of the last 6, 4 in a row. Yeah, it's obviously catastrophic for them as an organization. Given also the fact, didn't they sell their league spot too? Like, yep. I mean, they've lost out on so much just to try to make this make sense for them, and it hasn't. And so dev1ce, it's like they're hinging so much of their future on dev1ce, who is clearly at this point fickle in his ability to play. So if there's anybody that's unfit to play, it's not Bro, it's obviously dev1ce. So that's okay. It's kind of in a weird way, I don't wish any ill will of dev1ce, but it's karmic retribution for the organization at this point.
Right. Yeah. The problem I have is, it goes like this. Basically,
I was gonna I was gonna say just this is not a strike on dev1ce, but it's just a reading of the situation as it is right now. And it's like if you cannot make it, then you should just leave it to someone who can. Yes,
the problem to me is this, is I actually get the sense both privately and publicly of what I've seen and heard from dev1ce, that he actually is one of the few players who isn't just fucking saying what he thinks sounds cool when he says, I'm only going to play like as long as I can be like dev1ce, basically. I can be a top player. I can actually be like my level and then I'll retire when I don't. I actually believe he's one of the few players who means that. You've seen a lot of other people might say that in their prime, and then the point is they don't know what it'll be like to be the guy who isn't on top anymore. So at the end, when you are a Forest or a Crimson, sometimes you still want to play. You just go, actually, you know what, fuck it. I did think that when I was on top, but actually now that I am just a veteran and like, you know, like the 89th best player, I still want to play. I still want to be on a team if I can. I don't think that is dev1ce, by the way. I actually genuinely think, not just because of the injury, but I also think the injury certainly attenuates this. I do think as soon as he thinks he can't both simultaneously be dev1ce, but also more importantly, I think this is actually what was really happened this year. He can't be dev1ce because I think he can like almost be dev1ce now if he's not IGL. But the key thing is he can't be dev1ce and be in an elite team anymore. Like this team can't win. Like this team doesn't make finals. They're not even close. I mean, at their absolute best, they're like, you know, they've had like a good semi-final every now and then. If you ever go back even the whole time he's been here, it's been shit. So then my problem is a mixture of, in the past it was only the injury would have made me think he'd retire. Now I think it's both. I think it's the injury and the fact that the orgs and lineups around him have been so mismanaged for the last 4 years. That's a double whammy. It's like, one, why stick around? Because you might not even be yourself and you're injured, and on top of that, the team might not even fucking let you win. Like, there's nothing to gain here. But I will say this one thing, which is, the difference is, I won't say the sentence Kassad did of he should retire, because I actually think one problem I have with sports and esports is I don't think he can ever say that for a similar reason to what I just gave the example of how when you're on top, you can't know how you'll feel when you're at the bottom, which is there are so many, Kassad, so many pro players in esports history and sports stars that left when it was their choice. And then later on, they're like, fuck, I should have played 2 more years, or I should have just had one last go. Like, I'll give you a few examples. I've got 3 actually from the NFL, because obviously in the NFL, you can also get injured and people just decide to quit. These 3 players retired in their prime. Megatron, Calvin Johnson, the wide receiver from the Lions. Aaron Donald just retired recently from the fucking Rams, probably the best defensive player in football. And then back in the day, Barry Sanders, the running back from the Lions, also famously retired. These players all retired at their absolute peak, as in they were like all pro players, and they just said like, I'm done, I've just had enough now. And the reason why that is whack, I can tell you, it's true. For the first few years after they retired, they might have all been cool with it. They might be like, you know, I'm okay with it, or I've done enough, or whatever. The problem is this though, when you're 10 years later, 15, now you don't have a choice. You can't go back in time now. You can't ever get those extra 2 years you had. You can't have like one last run at a ring or something. You can't ever go back and experience that. So when it was your choice, it was your choice. But the problem is eventually it's no longer your choice. So my issue here is, if dev1ce decides to hang it up now, it probably is done forever. He's 29 years old already. People know about this injury. And if you fully retire, look, you're dev1ce, so you could maybe still come back to some small team, but you're never going to be this big player that people build whole squads around. Then if we go on the other angle, I've got a few I'll run through quickly. Right. The other reason why I hate the idea he retires is I still feel like he's the one piece that if he chose to take agency in where he goes, he could resurrect the whole fucking Danish scene. Think about it. If I have dev1ce the AWPer, and then I get, first of all, everyone wants to play with him, so he can make the team. Let's say, who do you want? Do you want Stown and then one other? Pick one other, I don't know, Stair or something. Right. Now let's go get an IGL. Spoiler, the best IGLs are still Danish. We've still got Carrigan, you know what, even fucking Glaves out there on a cliff somewhere. Like, you could get people. Snappy's available, but he could be resurrected. There'll be a hot take about that later. There's still angles you could go with to make a better team. Obviously, the injury thing sucks, because I heard basically that injury is exacerbated by stress, which is one of the reasons why I've always given so much props to dev1ce and Get Right when they were winning while experiencing that, because that means you're on stage feeling that shit and you're having to just block it out in like some Jordan flu game and just win the fucking championship on the major. That is incredible, but I understand you can't do that forever. And by the way, if you have that same pain, but it's to make it into the group stage, into the playoffs, and then losing the quarter, I might just say fuck it at that point. It's different if I'm winning the major. That's the reason they keep going. Right? What I'll say at the end is this though. The reason why I think it's so sick is because I don't think this is actually based on dev1ce himself. I think he was still a very good player the last few years. If he hadn't IGL'd, I think he actually was like that close to getting back to where he used to be, not in his prime, but like in NIP, for example. He was still like a top AWPer. He was still one of the better players in the world, still like a top 15 player in the world. You even look, right? The real problem is this. Ever since he left Astralis, they have completely mismanaged all the lineups he's been in. NIP famously had all the players just never at the same time, so they never got him and Brawline at the same time. They never got him and Alexi and Brawl at the same time. They got all the players, but they just spread out over 2 years. They never got the one lineup. So that was spinning his wheels. Then Astralis, I'm just going to say this outright. Astralis, I think, is one of the worst examples of an org absolutely abusing their talent players, their academy, just to save money and to avoid having to make a real change. What they did is pretend they were promoting talent academy players, pay them fuck all money, use them all up. They never even use them in the proper roles. That's why they all go elsewhere. As I found out, they look way better than the other teams. They never develop on Astralis. They just get kicked out. And you just basically, what you do is you pay dev1ce 40k, and then you pay that guy 3k, and then it just balances out that way. And between the two of them, making 20k each. That stupid logic that modern day CS runs on. So if you look at, forget NIP for a second, just look at the Astralis teams he's been in. Bro, every Astralis lineup he has been in, even the super team, is at least one player missing from like a real team. You look at the roles and you're just like, bro, there isn't even 5 players who all fit their role at like a top level on this one. And the reason why that's insane is, bro, you're not NIP, you're Astralis. You're supposed to have your pick of all the Danish players, and because you've got dev1ce, bro, that is the magnet right there. You should be able to get every piece you want and just make a god tier team that you could still win in. So basically, I don't think he should, because I just don't know if he would regret it. But in the sense of Kassan, will he ever actually have like a real team around himself again and have a chat? No. Right now with Astralis, it doesn't look at all like they'll do that. If anything, I actually think, by the way, what's funny about this is this was even one of my hot takes. I think I had a hot take. Wasn't my hot take when Cadian joined? Either Cadian or dev1ce will be gone next year. Like, it's just, there's no way they can coexist. By the way, I'll just add that part in there. That's where I was right, Maui. Because the other thing is this. I think I've heard too many people now. It took a few years before they were willing to say it. Behind the scenes, loads of people don't like Cadian, bro. It's just a thing where publicly they know there's no upside to it. All the fans love him. So I also thought there's no way they're going to be best pals after 3 months, mate. That's going to get real. That's going to get so old so fast. So I don't think he should, but I get your take. I think it's a good take.
Reality hits you really fast in those situations. But the thing is, like you mentioned, Calvin Johnson and like, all these people, like when they retired, when they were on the top, like, and you were kind of defending in a sense dev1ce, right?
Yeah.
But he made all decisions by himself.
It's true. Yeah.
Like, he could have knocked on the door of Liquid and said, like, listen, hello guys.
For sure.
Can you I want to play with you? You think they would say no? They paid 500.
By the way, I actually think the biggest miss of all, Kassan, the obvious one to me.
Fucking million, Duncan.
I used to say this all the time on this show. The most obvious move they should have done, and I think all parties involved are fucking idiots, is they should have actually done this Cadian move, but in heroic, bro. They should have just made Cadian agile and brought dev1ce in as AWPer. That team could actually have won everything, mate.
Yes.
They didn't do it, sadly. They just waited too long and they never did it for whatever reason.
The other thing was like he could have knocked on the door of FaZe.
Oh, for sure, yes. I'm pretty sure they'd want him, yeah. Probably G2 as well, don't put your squads, yeah.
Navi as well, before Wonderful came in, he could have knocked on the door there. They would all accept him. They would all pay him well.
Oh, some of this is self-inflicted, right? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, massively. Like,
I agree.
He was like, he's like a blind man. What is the worst thing that I can do? I'm just going to walk into this fucking minefield right here with like...
I'll give you the analogy, Kassan. I actually think the sports analogy would be LeBron. The reason why a lot of us criticise LeBron is it's up to him where he goes. He can have all the players and teams he wants, but he keeps choosing these weird lineups that aren't that good, and then they lose, and we all say, "But you chose it, LeBron." I feel like it's the same thing with dev1ce. He could have gone wherever he wanted, couldn't he?
Isn't it fact that he's like what 6?
It's mad, isn't it? And it's the same story every year. By the way, the Lakers is like Astralis every year. It's like, oh, can this young up-and-coming player actually be good? Or is our scuffed roster not actually good enough? Like, it's the same shit, innit? Like, you're like, what are you doing with your career, bro? You should be the best.
Anyway, yes. The thing is, like, all of the decisions he made himself. He decided to leave Astralis and go to NIP. He said that famously stupid thing. NIP is 10 times ahead of
It's 5 steps ahead or whatever, but yeah, something like that, yeah.
Whatever the fuck was it. And then he goes back and he tries to be the IGL and just shoots himself in the foot. It's just, like, crazy to me that he could have gone anywhere and he decided that. And we are supposed to be here defending that? No. I'm going to give you your credit because you are Hall of Fame fucking one of the GOATs of the game. But right now, you're worth like very little. As an IM. It's on you what you're going to do. If you cannot handle the fucking pressure and the thing like with your health, which is totally understandable, then
of course,
choose something else. Otherwise, because it's all about like, this is like people don't understand this. Fans especially, they don't understand this. This is a performance-based industry.
Course.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Right? If you are getting the fucking results, if you're getting the likes, the clicks, the views, the fucking things, you are gonna be there. If you kill people, like, you know, obviously on the server, what I mean, you know, in the game, and then you're going to be there. If you're not performing well, you're not going to be there. And that's how ruthless that is, cutthroat and ruthless, and it has to be like that. And you need to keep up with it. How many players did got forgotten after 6 months of, like, you know, inactive or whatever the fuck? You go be inactive, and then all of a sudden you're just no longer a factor in anything. You're just a has-been. You're just a memory of somebody. So, you know, you just need to decide which path you're going to go. But right now for dev1ce, he's on the crossroads. Like, you see what you can do with your... You already... This has been done for the RMR. Astralis is not on the major. They fucked it up. Now they are on the crossroads. Astralis is an organization that put, what, $4 million that we calculated at the very least. And Astralis is... And dev1ce is on the crossroads to decide, like, what's he going to do? And how is he going to do it? And would I take a gamble on him? No, I did already, and it didn't pan out. So,
see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.